Lie on your back with your legs long and take a moment to feel the contact between the back of your body, the back of you, and the ground. Feel the space under your lower back where your lumbar arches. Notice the size of that space. Is it a lot, a little, or something in between? If you could fit something in that space between your lower back and the floor, would it be the size of a tennis ball, a soccer ball, a basketball? Now place your feet standing. You're going to do movements that use the most powerful muscles in your body. These are also the areas that tend to be the sorest for many people. So please move gently and with attention to the effects of your movement. That way, the movements will actually improve your pain and soreness and restore your ease and suppleness. Press the back of your pelvis into the floor a few times, as if you were pressing the earth down with your bones. Gently. And now press the floor down with your tailbone. Press your tailbone down into the earth. You'll feel your lower back arches as a result. Do that a few times. Now slide your hand under the arch of your lower back. And as you press your tailbone down, feel how your lower back muscles contract as your spine arches. Now slide your hand out again. This time, when you inhale, press your tailbone so your lower back arches. And when you exhale, press your lower back down into the floor. Go back and forth. Inhale, pressing your tailbone. Exhale, pressing your lower back down. Nice and easy. You'll feel a rocking motion as you go back and forth. Please don't muscle through this. Direct your movements through your bones and reduce your unnecessary effort. The more you do that, the clearer and easier this will feel. Take your time to do this slowly and gently. This is such a fabulous and foundational movement. Let that go and rest with your legs long for a moment. Notice any change you feel in length, sensation, or contact with the floor. It's common to have a chronically contracted back. This lesson and the next will retune your system toward a more neutral postural home base. Now turn over onto your belly. Turn your face right and place the back of your right hand under your left cheek. Let your left arm be alongside your body. Have your legs lying straight down from your hip joints. If your toes or your ankles or your feet are uncomfortable, you can place a rolled towel under the top of each foot or under your ankles. Make it so you can be comfortable to be here and move. Pause the recording if you need time to do that. You won't miss a thing. Now inhale and lift your right elbow up a few times. Feel what happens in your shoulder blade and the bending of your wrist. Keep your head down. Now inhale and lift only your head, and then set it back down. Does it feel heavy and hard to lift? Remember that in order to lift any body part, the rest of your body needs to respond in order to carry the weight. What do you feel happens down your entire spine to your tailbone when you lift your head? Anything? Make sure you're lifting it and setting it back down. You're not holding it up. You're lifting it and putting it down. If you stay at the beginning of your movement, you'll get a clearer perception of sensations. Lift just enough to feel what happens in the whole of you. Pause that. And now inhale as you lift your elbow, head, and hand together. Lift your elbow a little first, and then lift your head and hand to follow. Then lower everything down fully on the floor again. Do this a few times. Lift as if your elbow is being pulled by a cord from the ceiling. That means when you lift, your head and elbow will twist slightly backward and upward. Feel what presses down on the floor as you lift up. See if you can stay at the very beginning of the movement. As soon as it feels hard or strained, put your parts down. That's all the information you need. And now pause and just rest for a minute. It's good to remember that you're not exercising your movement. You're looking to become more aware of how you do the movement. Do that one more time. And this time notice if you feel a tiny tension or contraction in your left buttocks. And now pause that. This time, inhale as you lift your left leg a couple of inches from the floor. Do this about 3 times. Go really slow so you can notice while you move. What happens in your spine and your right shoulder when you lift your leg? What parts press down when you lift your leg up? Now put those 2 movements together. Inhale and lift your elbow, head, and hand together with your leg. See if you can feel the chain of contraction like a pulley system that connects all your dots. Remember, you're lifting and putting everything back down again. Can you synchronize your breath with your movement? Inhaling as you lift, exhaling as you put everything down? Feel what presses down on the floor when you lift up. Let that go. Roll onto your back and rest. And feel your contact with the floor. Now turn over onto your belly again. turn your face left and place the back of your left hand under your right cheek. Let your right arm lay alongside your body. Have your legs laying straight down from your hip joints. Now, with your hand under your cheek, inhale and lift your left elbow up a few times. And feel what happens in your shoulder blade and down through your spine. Now inhale and lift your head, and then set it back down. What do you feel happen down your entire spine to your tailbone? Anything? Lift your head and put it down a few times so you can feel what happens when you do this. Now inhale and lift your elbow a little first, and then add in your head and your hand. See if you can stay with a small movement. Let your head and elbow tilt slightly backward as they're pulled upward. Any feeling of strain or heaviness means the rest of your body isn't in the loop yet. So just notice. As soon as you feel heaviness or strain, put your parts down again. And do this about 3 to 5 times. And notice if you feel a tiny contraction in your right buttocks. Now pause that. This time, inhale and lift your right leg a couple of inches from the floor. Do this about 3 times, really, really slow. Observe in a relaxed way as you move. What happens in your spine and your left shoulder when you lift your right leg? And what presses down into the floor when your leg lifts up? Now put your 2 movements together. Inhale as you lift your elbow, head, and hand together with your leg. And exhale as you put them all down again. See if you can feel your whole spinal chain like a pulley system. The simpler it gets, the more you'll feel that your brain organizes your movement around your intent. When you're organized, it feels like your brain is carrying out your movement for you. Let that go. Lie on your belly and rest with your head in the middle for a moment. You can roll your head side to side if your neck feels a little stiff. Now, keeping your head in the middle, stack your hands, one on the other, palms down, and put your forehead to rest on top. As you inhale, lift your head and eyes to look toward the ceiling, and listen to both sides of your spine down to your buttocks. Do this about 3 times. If you have lower back pain, this shape may feel familiar. Can you feel the sway of your lower back forward and your upper spine backward? Having a habitual posture in this direction is one of the most common causes of back pain. If you were standing up, this can be translated as your chest up and your shoulders back and down. Feel how far off neutral that actually is as you bend your back here. Now pause that. This time as you inhale, lift your right leg a few times, listening to the movement up your spine to your neck and your head. And now as you inhale, lift your left leg a few times, listening all the way up, your lower back, upper back, neck, and head. Pause that. And now inhale and lift your head and right leg a few times. And this time, as you inhale, lift your head and left leg a few times. And now one time slowly, lift your head and both legs together. And then let that go. Roll over to lie on your back and place your feet standing. Put your hands behind your head, fingers interlaced, and your elbows open. And like you did in the beginning, arch and press your tailbone down into the earth. And then press your lower back down and fold your elbows like a hammock and lift your head at the same time. So go back and forth between these two movements. With your head down and your elbows open, press your tailbone, and then lift your head, fold your elbows, and press your lower back down. Back and forth. And now let that go and rest all your limbs on the floor. Notice if you feel flatter. Do you notice a change in the space under your lower back? Is it less arched as you lay like this now? When you're ready, roll through one of your sides and come to standing. And notice immediately your lower back as you stand. Do you feel that you want to sway back into it? Do you feel the desire to roll your shoulders back and down and pull your chest up and back? This can be a real insight if you have back pain. If, on the other hand, you tend to have more of a rounded upper back, which is called kyphosis, you may feel that you want to tuck your tailbone more forward when you're standing. Just notice whatever feels like your inclination to self-adjust back into what you know as familiar in your posture, but don't actually do it. Instead, stay here with what may feel more unfamiliar, but is actually better and more naturally organized. Feeling how your system may want to readjust right now is good insight into the difference between your usual postural habit and this new, less familiar feeling of a more neutral posture. Pay attention for a few moments so you can become aware of how this less familiar posture feels. Try to sense the shape of the vertical line of your back. This is an amazing lesson to have in your arsenal for changing lower back pain and restoring a tired and achy back. Take a walk and get to know this new postural feeling. And remember, every day, in every way, you're getting better and better. This ends the lesson.